Hey everybody, it's Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, and today is Sunday, July 7th, I believe. This is Flosstube number 43, and I have a lot to show you like usual. I have some finishes. I actually don't have very many whips at all because I was so focused on finishing things. And I have so much haul again. Yeah. I don't have an excuse. I can't stop buying stuff. I think I'm settling down. Like, I think, like, I haven't bought any cross stitch stuff in the last few days, so I think I'm okay. I think I'm chilling out. My new obsession is buying books. I've always been like a crazy reader, but I don't know why, but all of a sudden I want to buy all the books. So I've been, but I've been going to like thrift stores and used bookstores and buying them for a couple of dollars instead of, you know, list price. So, but regardless, I have filled 3 shelves, 3 on my big bookshelf. I filled 3 shelves from books I bought in the last week and a half. However, I think I'm done for now because I've hit literally every thrift store in the vicinity, and a used bookstore twice, and I think I bought them out of everything for now. So might go back in a couple weeks, see if they have new stuff. It's here nor there. Buying a lot of books. But I'm still stitching, don't worry. So I'm not even sure like where to start. I guess we'll start with some fully finished objects. So this, I actually had finished stitching this several videos ago. This is not a new stitch. I just was never getting around to framing it. So I finally fully finished and framed. This is an Etsy pattern. The seller is Hardcore Stitch Core, and I believe the name of the pattern is Bless This Hive. I actually threw it away because it was a PDF. But here's my finish. This is on 28 count oatmeal linen, or Ada, no, linen. 28 count. I think it's from Michael's. It's like Irish. No, it's not Irish linen. That's really uneven. It's like Carolina linen, I think is what it is. But it's just like a nice raw natural linen. 28 count with DMC, with all the called for DMC. And the frame is just like from Marshall's or TJ Maxx. This wood back here is actually scrapbook paper. So it's paper printed to look like wood. And then I just added these little clothesline clips and some, what do you call that? Twine? I think it's got a name. I can't remember what it is. The striped cording. This is a quote. You guys can read it, I assume, but I'll read it to you just in case. Bless this wretched hive of scum and villainy. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. This is how he describes Mos Eisley, which is this town or city, Space City, right here. He describes it as a wretched hive of scum and villainy. And so this is a play on like, bless this house, bless this home. So it's hanging up in the entryway. So simple finish, simple quick pattern. And then I have another fully finished object. I posted this on Instagram and it's got so much love. This is, I actually finished this on July 5th, the day after 4th of July. I was chugging along really trying to get this done and I just couldn't do it. But anyway, I did finish it. This is a pattern by the Primitive Hare. It's called In God We Trust. and it's from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I think that's right. I have a digital subscription, and I bought all the back issues as well. And I believe this was in either spring 2015 or summer 2015, but it was in 2015. And so I did modify the pattern a little bit. The pattern is called In God We Trust, and that's what was charted right here at the top. I changed that to say Descent is Patriotic. But otherwise the pattern is exactly the same. I didn't use any of the called for colors. I just, you know, whatever was close. Like, I didn't go wildly off of what was called for, which was only a few colors anyway. I just, you know, grabbed Color and Cottons and Weeks and stuff like that I had that were close. I believe the red is Baked Apple by Weeks Dye Works. The blue is a Color and Cotton limited edition, I think. And then the rest is mostly DMC. His the gray part of his uniform is a Color and Cotton. And so I finished it in this little chair. I got this chair at Joann's like 2 years ago, and it's it actually has a picture, a 4x6 picture cut into it, or to put your own 4x6 picture. And when I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna put a cross stitch in that. And my thought too was I would do some smalls that I could set in here. So like, this isn't patriotic, but you know, like take a little small like this and like set it in the chair and display it somehow like that. But this is, I don't have anything else done except for this. Anyway, this got a lot of love on Instagram. You guys were into it. You were into the creative finishing. I stitched this on 40 count primitive hair linen in Old Massachusetts. Just a nice grungy, dirty linen. I love it. I do love her linens. So those are my two fully finished objects. I have another finish that I have not fully finished yet, and this is a big one. So during Stitch Mania, I focused on finishing my Clouds Factory Fabulous Women in History Stitch Along, which was a 2017 Stitch Along. And I decided I would, you know, I think what I decided was I would, for every 2 women I stitched, I could get a new start, but sometimes I would stitch 3 or 4 women before a new start, whatever. It was just a loose, like, motivational goal. And June came, and I was really just so close. I think I had 3 or 4 women left to stitch. So I was like, you know, I'm not putting this away. I'm going to keep working on it. And I'm not going to put it away until it's done. And so I finished it a couple weeks ago, and I actually did find a frame at the thrift store because it's not a standard size finish. So I was at the thrift store looking for books, and I was like, let me just look at the frames, and I saw one, and I was like, that's that might be the right size, but probably not. You know how like it doesn't ever work out that perfectly. And I had measured this piece and written down and actually brought a ruler with me. And so I got out and like measured the frame, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. It is like absolutely perfect. It'll leave like a 1/4 inch like margin around the piece, like perfect proportion or ratio. So crazy. So anyway, I do need to like actually lace and frame this, but here it is. It is done. Like I said, this is a big finish for me. This was my oldest whip on my list. It was my very oldest whip, which is part of why I decided to focus on it. It is also, I believe, the biggest thing I've ever finished. So I'm going to zoom in and just kind of scroll through. I really can't exactly see what I'm doing in the mirror, so pardon. if I'm off a little bit. I'll scroll backwards for this middle row. This was a 32 count linen from, sorry, I cannot see. 32 count linen from, I believe it was Joann's, and I dyed it myself. And I feel like, I don't know how well it shows up. I think it's showing up pretty good there. It's purple. It's mostly purple with some blue. I used purple and blue dyes. The blue did not take as well. I think you can see it though. It's a nice mottled, like pastel-y kind of purple. And I'm just absolutely in love. I hope you guys can hear me through this muffled linen. Anyway, I love it. I love it. I did do some recharting. I did do some custom ladies. So let me show you who I designed myself. I designed two myself. I mean, I just took what she had designed and tweaked it and made it my own. So I did, and I made some substitutions. So like, for example, Maya Angelou and Ruth Bader Ginsburg are substitutions, but I bought the pattern from Clouds Factory. That's how she charted it. What I actually did myself was Sally Ride and Princess Di. So those I did chart on my own. I was really proud of Princess Di. I put like sparklies for her earrings and her necklace. I don't know how well you can see it. This is the American Red Cross flag for all of the work she did with them for AIDS. This is Princess Di in her revenge dress. And I'm just like really proud of myself for how well I charted that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Princess Di revenge dress. Woo! So it's after her divorce was finalized from Prince Charles. She, like her first big public debut, it was like, you know, a charity gala, something like that. And she shows up in this like off the shoulder, like skin tight black dress. Oh, like just serving it. She looks incredible. She has this huge like sapphire with all these diamonds, like this big like collared necklace. I mean, just looking like $1,000,000. So it's called the Revenge Dress. And just go Google it and you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, she looks incredible. And it was very, very, very scandalous, you know, at the time. I mean, for now it looks pretty tame. I mean, not tame, but it doesn't look that crazy. But, you know, for the time, it was quite provocative. And for a royal, it was absolutely insane. So go check it out. It's worth it. It's a good look. Okay, so those were my finishes. So I actually finished stitching 2 things. I fully finished, you know, that extra thing that bless this hive. So there you go. Oh, previous finishes. Somebody asked me to show these. They said that they've been looking at them in the background. And so they said, will you please, you know, in your next video, will you please, like, you know, really do a close-up of these? So what she wanted to see were my stitch pieces. So let's talk about this, because I do get a lot of questions about these pieces. So Steotch is spelled S-T-E-O-T-C-H. It is a designer. Steotch is a designer, cross-stitch designer. They are on Etsy. They also have their own website where you can buy their patterns from their own website. And every year, it's usually like October, they host a free stitch along, and it's a mystery pattern. They release a little piece every week, and you generally don't know until like towards the end what it's really shaping up to be. Like it's they release such weird little pieces that you can't really tell what it's gonna be. And so it's really fun. It's free. You can like, you know, make a donation if you want, or you can just grab the pattern for free. And then they'll pick a week during the stitch along where they will release all of the past year's patterns on their Etsy that you can go and buy. And it's a limited time, like just for 1 week, you can go buy like last year's, the year before, whichever ones you want. But you cannot buy them any other time. So it's just 1 week of the year that you can go get these patterns. And so when people ask me about these patterns, I'm like, well, here's what it is, but you can't get it right now. But this fall, you should be able to grab it if you get to their website in the right time. Or just join the stitch along and do it for free in real time. Now this year, they actually just announced this year's, which is really kind of unprecedented. They usually don't really announce anything until like October. But yeah, this year they were like, okay, like we've got it all, like we're ready to go in August. They're going to start in August, which is really early. So I don't know what it's going to be. It's usually like a snarky or subversive cross stitch. So if that's like not your jam, then you may not want to participate. But if you go to their website, you can see like what their style is, and you'll know if it's for you. So the first year I participated was 2017, and that year the pattern was, "As for me and my house, we shall serve." And then you had an option to customize. So that's the other cool thing they do with their patterns. They give you like options, like choose your own adventure. And so they gave like 10 options. One was like, "We shall serve the King in the North," which was a Game of Thrones reference. One was "We shall serve Dumbledore's army," which is a Harry Potter reference. I mean, they had so many. I made my own. This is Freddie Mercury. So I said, my house, we shall serve the Killer Queen. And then this Freddie Mercury is from Cloud's Factory. She has a pattern for a queen pattern, which has all 4 members. So I just took Freddie and just did him. So that was 2017. If that appeals to you, this fall you should be able to buy it. And then last year, 2018, oh my God, this is dusty. I'm just kind of wiping it off really quick. So last year was "Home is where the," and then you could choose your own adventure. And again, they gave you like 10 different options. And I was going to do like a Harry Potter one. I think I was going to do "Home is where the Muggles aren't," or something like that. And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, I did Queen last year. Like, I'm doing Queen again. Like, okay, that's my thing now. I'm doing Queen with all these stiaches. So that's what I did. The "Home is where the Queen is." And I did Freddie Mercury again. So this year, I'm gonna shoot for some kind of Queen-inspired customization. Now, these 2 patterns lent themselves very well to doing so. The year before, I think 2016, was actually Tyrion from Game of Thrones. It was like a lifelike cross stitch of Tyrion, and then the wording that most people picked was, "I drink and I know things," which is a quote from the show. So like, I didn't do that year, but I guess like that would have been really hard to make a Queen customization that year. So I don't think it always works out, but the last 2 years it's worked out. I will participate this year. It's an easy, quick stitch. It's not like super time consuming, and it's free. And I just like grab stuff from Stash. And if I hate the way it turns out, like it's not that big of a deal. So I'm definitely going to participate. If I can make it Queen, I will. If I can't, no big deal. So previous finishes. Been doing this long enough that I can actually do that. I have previous finishes. Okay, so now let's do some haul, and then I'll show you my whips, which I only have a couple, but I have a lot of haul. So, okay, so first of all, someone posted, I don't remember who, Jardin Privé was having something like a 30 or 40% off sale on their website, and where you can get all their patterns as PDFs. And I do love this designer, and I was like, there's definitely some patterns I want. So I ran over and grabbed a couple. The website is in French, but there's like an option to switch it over to English, and it was fine. It was totally easy to navigate and do. So I bought I don't speak French, okay? Sampler au bouquet 2. That's what it says. I just thought it was pretty. And then I bought Patchwork de la Broderie. Which is like sewing, like thimbles and spools and scissors and needles. And then I got Patchwork Hiver. I know it means winter. I'm just not sure how to pronounce it. I just thought that was cute. Okay, what else did I buy? These aren't even in order anymore because I don't remember when I bought what. I went to Creative Poppy and bought some more Barbara Annas. I just really like, I could stitch every Barbara Anna ever. Like, I own several. Every time I go to this website, I have to like, I put like 100 in my cart, and then I have to like edit it down, and I just usually get like 2 or 3 at a time. But like someday I will have them all. I love Barbara Anna. I just love her patterns. So what I went there to get was Love Never Fails. I've wanted this forever. Every time someone shows it, I'm like, I need it. I've wanted it for ages. The latest enabler was Leslie Hurley. Fat Cat Flossing. She's stitching it. She showed it. I was like, that's it. I'm going to get it. I'm not messing around anymore. And then while I was there, I grabbed Sisters, which is a really cute, like kind of more Halloween-y kind of sampler. It really should stitch up really fast. It says Hannah Black and Betsy Black, and it's really pretty simple. Okay, so I restrained myself to that. And then I went shopping on Etsy. There was, I can't remember when it was now. It was like at least a week ago, 2 weeks ago. There was a seller on Etsy who did a one-day sale where if you bought any of her patterns, she was going to donate all the proceeds to Races, which is an organization in Texas that helps immigrant asylum-seeking families. Basically, it was in response to the children in cages at the border. I know you guys don't want to get political. I know most of you are like, please, please, please don't talk about political things. I can't. Cross-stitching is my escape. It's my happy place. I don't want to get into all that. And I get it. I do. And I really do try to avoid that kind of discussion. But, and I really didn't think about this ahead of time, so my thoughts are not going to be very eloquent probably. But there comes a point where you can't just turn away because something's making you uncomfortable. And there comes a point where you just cannot be silent anymore. And what is going on is an absolute travesty of human rights. and it's not okay. And if you disagree with me and you need to unfollow me, I don't think that's a big loss for me. So anyway, so see, I'm trying to keep it brief. Steph X Stitch on Etsy wanted to do something to help. So she said, if you go buy my patterns, which her patterns are not expensive, but basically if you go buy a pattern, I'm going to donate the proceeds. I believe she raised something like $1,200, which is amazing. I've had this pattern in my wish list forever. So I was like, I guess I'll just finally buy it. So I did. And that should be a very fast stitch as well. So then I was watching Desert Stitcher on Flosstube, Joanne, and she had gone to a thrift store and she got like a crazy haul. I think I can't remember. She bought like a whole box or something. And it was full of like good housewife patterns and all sorts of stuff. And so I was like, hey, like what good housewife patterns were in there? Because she had said, you know, like it wasn't her style. And I was like, there's a few I've been looking for. Like, which ones did you get? And so she sent me like a picture of the ones that she got. And I was like, oh, that one I like super want. And she's like, okay, well, I'll send it to you. So it's actually not hard to get this pattern. You can buy this from the Good Housewife on her Etsy. But it's still, you know, like $10 or some 12 bucks, something like that. So it's called With My Needle. And so now I didn't have to pay 10 bucks for it, I guess. So we did a trade. I'm sending her something and she sent me this pattern. And then with that, she also sent me this really cool needle minder. I believe that she made, or no, she did. I know she made. So she sent me this needle minder, and at first I was like, I'm not sure what that is. You know, I'm like, that's cool. What is that? And I mean, I was like, I think it might be Joshua Tree, but I don't know. But then like she did include this postcard so that it is Joshua Tree, because I haven't been there. But I want to go there. So anyway, so it's actually a really cool needle minder that she made. And I'm kind of excited, but I'll be more excited once I actually get a chance to go there. I do, I have kind of like a bucket list. I want to go to Utah and just like hit all the national parks, because there are several in Utah, and they're, you know, supposed to be gorgeous. So there's Joshua Tree, there's Arches, oh, what's the other one? There's like 4 or 5. So anyway, I want to go to there. So, and then Joanne had enabled me on one of her floss tubes. She had shown some patterns she had gotten from an Etsy seller that I hadn't seen before. And y'all know I love those like Russia, Ukraine designers that do like the super realistic stitching with like lots of back stitching. But then in a way it's not realistic, because it's kind of like, you know, like whimsical fairy kind of stuff. Anyway, so this designer is called Little Room in the Attic, and they're on Etsy. And I believe last I looked a couple days ago, all her patterns were like 30% off. So I don't know how long that's going on for. But I bought the Girl Scissors and Sewing Machine pattern. I just thought it was really, really cute. So I bought it. We're getting towards the end of haul, I promise. While I was at the thrift store looking for books, of course I went and looked to see if there's any cross-stitch stuff, and like there never is. Like the ones around here, I mean, you'll find like a 1987 cross-stitch in Country magazine, like every so often. But mostly there's really not anything. And that's still the case. I bought these patterns, but I mean, I'm not like, you know, over the moon about them. It's just they were 50 cents, and I was like, oh, fine, whatever. So I bought a couple of Paula Vaughn patterns. I don't even know if I'll ever stitch them, but they were 50 cents. And I do like Paula Vaughn, but it's a lot of work. I mean, I stitched that one for my mom. It was a lot of work. So I got friendship quilts. I mean, they do appeal to me more now that I do quilting. And then I got Rose of Sharon. Again, these were all 50 cents. So I thought, oh heck. I mean, if I never stitch it, it's 50 cents. And then I got the Seamstress. If I stitch any of them, it would probably be this one. I've always liked this one. Always. Okay. So then, of course, I couldn't help myself. I made another order from Threads Entwined, who is having a sale. I think that's why I ordered. Yeah, she was having a sale. And then she's having another sale. She has sales all the time. Incredible. Still highly recommend. You order, it usually ships the same day. It's in your hot little hands like a day or two later. So I ordered, this has been on my wish list since I first saw it, Ink Circles Dog's Declaration. This is, says life, liberty, and the pursuit of squirrels. That's Lincoln. A few of you have been like, what's up? Where's Lincoln? We miss Lincoln. I'm sorry. Lincoln's not here right now. He's on a hike with his dad, which is why I'm filming. Otherwise I would call him in and let him say hi. So anyway, Lincoln loves, you know, Lincoln's dream in life would be to catch a squirrel. He never will. He's real bad at it, but he sure would like to. He's so funny. Like, I'll be like walking him around our neighborhood, and we have like a lot of bunnies in this area, and that's his other like dream, is to catch a bunny. But he doesn't even see half of them. Like, we'll be walking along and I'm like, oh, there's a bunny. Oh crap, he's gonna freak out. We walk right by, he never even sees it. Like, I'm better at spotting these than you. Like, you're the animal. Like, whatever. It's fine. He doesn't need to catch a bunny. Anyway, this is actually, looks like it'd be really fun to stitch, and it's really pretty. And it's adorable. And so I also bought the floss pack, which is all Valdani's, which just look absolutely gorgeous. I'm so excited to stitch with these. They're not, I didn't know what exactly they were going to be. They're wrapped up like DMC, but they're variegated. They're just they look very nice. Different than the Valdani spools that I am using for Rosewood Manor Quakers. This is more like a DMC kind of thread. So then I bought some fabric from Jen's Stitching Niche because I was watching her Flosstube and she was like, hey, I just got in a bunch of Under the Sea fabrics. And she also ships like lightning fast, and you get your items like within a day, like a couple days. And I love Under the Sea fabrics, but you know, if you order directly from Leslie, there's like a little bit of a wait time, which is fine, but I like instant gratification. So I went over to Jen's Stitching Niche and, and grabbed some fabric. So I got a 46 count in Properly Primitive. Now 46 count, I know that's crazy, right? I just thought I want to give it a shot. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. It's like a nice like greeny antiqued, sort of like Picture This Plus like Velt maybe. And then I got a 40 count, which is more my wheelhouse, in Autumn, which is really pretty. It's almost like it's a pinky kind of color. Very nice. And then I went to last Sunday Stitchin' at my local needlework store, a stitching shop. And I bought a few things while I was there. I had like pre-ordered some things. So one of them was the Blackberry Rabbit honey makers. this came out at market, and I definitely like stopped and looked at it, but I was like, oh, it's fine, you know, like I don't need it, it's fine. But we have our stitching, a stitching shop, my LNS, has a model of this, and when I saw the model, I was like, oh, I need that. So she ordered it for me because she'd already sold out. It doesn't look like it'll take too long. I don't know, just seeing the model, it was just so pretty. So I grabbed that. And then I needed some linen for something, but I don't know, I haven't quite settled on. So I got some Lakeside linen in porcelain. Just a nice neutral piece of fabric. I think it's for I wanted to do it, a sampler on it. And so for a sampler, I like to keep it a little more simple. I did buy all of the Overa Soie silks for one of my samplers while I was there. Oh, for this one. Hands Across the Sea, Jennifer Gilbert, 1818. So I've just got to settle on a fabric for that, but I have all the floss. I needed a tacky bob bead mat while I was there, because I'm gonna have to be beading like chatelaines and miras, and I wanted that one that's like comes in a little case, like a CD case, and it's like sticky. And so I went to grab it, and the owner was like, hey, you know, have you tried that other one like right next to it? I really like that one. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't know there were other kinds of bead mats. And then another lady was in the room checking out, and she was like, oh yeah. She's like, I like that one a lot better. So I bought, it's called the Bead Smith Sticky Bead Mat. So I'm going to try that. It's supposed to, I mean, it's the same concept. But I thought I'd let you guys know. I mean, I haven't tried it yet, but they said this is better than the tacky bob. Or not, I mean, that they preferred it, basically. They're like, the tacky bob is great too, but like they prefer that. And then I made a 1, 2, 3 stitch order to get a couple of like random threads I needed that they didn't have, like a couple cry necks or whatever. And while I was there, I grabbed some linen, for another project. I have not settled on whether I'm going to actually do this, but it was for Blackbird Designs Merrily Merrily We Welcome Spring, which I told you guys this is too dark for me and I want to brighten it up. And I had in my head, I had it in my head what I want. I want like a nice neutral with like a pink tone, like a hint of pink. And I couldn't find it. So I was on 1, 2, 3 stitch. I'm like, let me look and see what they have. Well, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but this has happened to me twice now. It is really, really hard to find real life pictures of Lakeside linens. 1, 2, 3 stitch has their little square, you know, that's like, oh, it's this color, but really, like, what color is it? It's really hard to judge by one little picture. You know, they don't take like multiple pictures of their fabrics. It's just one little like blob. And so, especially with Lakeside linens, it is really hard to be like, okay, what does this look like? Really, what does it really look like? And they don't have like an Instagram account where they show, I don't know, it's just really hard for me to like get a real life look at a lot of their linens. And so there was one on 1, 2, 3 stitch called Vintage Wild Rose, and it definitely was some kind of pink. But again, like I really couldn't get a feel for it. Like, is it more of like a peachy pink? Is it a baby pink? Like, what is it? I decided to just roll the dice and order it. It's definitely not what it looks like on 1, 2, 3 stitch. It is pink as hell. So if any of you are wondering, this is what Vintage Wild Rose looks like. Not saying I hate it or anything, but it is pink. And I don't know how that's showing up for you guys. It is like baby pink. Pink. So this is white. It's pink. And I wanted some pink, and I knew it was gonna be pink, but it's really pink. So I have to lay out all the flosses and see, because this is maybe not what I had in mind. So no decision yet on that. If anybody has a good resource for how they like to like get an idea of lakeside linens, like, is there someone on Instagram that's bought a bunch of them and taken like good pics? Like sometimes I think it helps if I've seen like with Picture This Plus, like someone will buy like 8 fat quarters of Picture This Plus, and then they'll like take a pic of all 8 like fanned out. And it does kind of help because you're like, okay, I know what doubloon looks like. So I kind of know, and then you can look at the others and kind of get a feel for it. Does anyone like know a good way to get a feel for lakeside linens? I even tried like the hashtag just lakeside linen on Instagram, but it's mostly of course just people who are stitching any and everything on a lakeside linen, but even those pictures are not a good indicator of what the linen looks like. And most people don't actually say what they're stitching on. They'll just like hashtag lakeside linen, but then they don't say like this is 40 count, you know, porcelain, or what, like they don't really say. So if anyone knows a good way to really like figure out what's going on with lakeside linens, let me know. Holler at me. One more time, this is Vintage Wild Rose. It's almost like pastel hot pink. Okay. That's all the haul that I could find. There might have been more. That's what I could find. Okay, so so In God We Trust, I'll show it one more time because it's sitting here. This was my lunchtime stitching project at work. So I finished it on Thursday. So on Friday, I started a new lunchtime project. I wanted to just keep it something real simple. So this is the Hello Pumpkin Sal by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And I don't actually, it's going to be released I think in 6 parts, and parts 1 and 2 are released and part 3 is coming out like July 13th. This is the pattern, but you are totally not going to be able to see anything based on this. I'm just going to show it really quick so you get kind of a feel for what it is. It's a really cute like fall piece. And it's going to, as the parts release, like this is all going to fill in. And it's a big tree with like cute stuff in it. This little owl is adorable. And it's just like DMC, super simple. So I did this is just 1 day of stitching on that. But this coming week, I'll be able to put more work into that. This is a 32 count Dames of the Needle in Bo Peep's Sheep. And the called for DMCs. I also worked on Plum Street Samplers Peace, Love, and Purpose. This is, I got the kit from Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. So they sell this like fully kitted up with like the called for flosses and linen. I was working on this for, to me this is patriotic, that big flag at the top and everything. So I was kind of chugging along on this for 4th of July, and then I realized like I wasn't going to get it finished, and that's fine. No big deal. But I got a lot done. By the way, this fully kitted up, you know, they cut it real close on the fabric. They don't leave you a big margin. So that's how far I got. So this is all going to be filled in with like dolphin, I think. Weeks Dye Work dolphin. And then that's only the halfway point. So then there's a whole rest of it and it's all filled in. So that's going to be fun. But I do like it. It's been fun to stitch. I did want to point out, this is like such a tiny little thing. But if anyone else buys this, there is a mistake in the chart. So this star, this quilt star right here, the blue, it calls for the lighter color in these flying geese. But as you can see, the way the sample is, it's the darker blue, but the pattern calls for the lighter blue. And so I stitched it like how it was charted, and you could not even see the blue part of this star because it was this color, which totally blends in with the house. So you couldn't even see it. So I ended up ripping it out. I like looked at the chart cover for a while, and I was like, no, they definitely meant this blue. So I ripped it out and restitched it. But just a heads up, if anyone's stitching this, save yourself that grief. Switch out those colors from the start. Okay, and then last, but certainly not least, maybe most exciting thing, really. New Mirabilia. Cathedral Woods Goddess. This just dropped like a week or two ago. I belong to a Colorado cross-stitch group on Facebook. To join, you have to like live in Colorado or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's mostly just like people that go to the stitch-in at our LNS. And so yeah, this was announced and someone was like, oh my God, look at this. And we all were like, oh my God, I need it. I love it. It's amazing. So basically, I think like 6 of us are going to stitch this. So we're pretty much just having a Sal. So I was like, me please, order one for me. And then I showed up at Stitch-In and I really didn't think she would have it yet because that was like June 30th. But I mean, she had just shown this at, I don't know, I just didn't think she'd have it yet. And she's like, no, I have it. I got them on Thursday. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's amazing. So I got to take it home that day. So I did start it. I'm doing all the called for colors. This is a nice one. It doesn't call for like 9,000 things. So it calls for like standard DMC. It calls for just 2 Karen water lilies, just 3 Krynics, and not that many beads. So I think that's, for Amira, that's like really not bad. Also, I think she's going to stitch up pretty quick. Her dress is kind of small. So I think she'll be fast. So I did start her. And the fabric I picked is Picture This Plus Gossamer. Not probably one I would have grabbed, but I did the fabric viewer online, which if you guys don't know about that, it's awesome. It's literally, I think, www.fabricviewer.com, and you can pick your pattern and you can pick your linen, and it kind of gives you like a mock-up of how your pattern is gonna look on that linen. And so she has like all the chatelaines, all the mirabilias, a bunch of other stuff, and then like for linens, you can do like Under the Sea, Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, Picture This Plus, you know, a whole bunch of designers. And you can kind of like judge like how it's gonna look overall. It's super, super, super helpful. It's awesome. And so I knew my LNS always has a really good stock of Picture This Plus. So I pulled up this pattern and I started putting it on Picture This Plus fabrics to kind of, you know, see how it would look. And Picture This Plus Gossamer is like a kind of lime green. And I was like, that's not gonna work, but we'll see what it looks like. And I was like, oh, I actually kind of like that. Like, I don't hate that. And so when I got to the shop, I pulled Gossamer and put all the threads against it. And I was like, I think that's going to work. So that's what I'm doing it on. Picture This Plus 32 count Gossamer, which is like a nice, like lightly mottled, like greeny yellow, which again, I wasn't sure how that was going to work with like the teal, but I think it's working good. So that's where I'm at. All of those empty spaces you see are beads. Like this, the stitching for this is done. It's just beads that go in those blank spots. So I don't know how well you can see those sparkles, but she's gonna be bling blingin'. She calls for a lot of sparkly. So, which of course you can't see it on the picture. You know how that goes. But, so this whole bodice is sparkly. And then all of this is sparkles mixed with like a Karen water lilies. So lots of sparkle in there too. Like all those golds on the leaves are sparkles. So she's gonna be freaking fantastic. So excited. So that's I've been stitching on her a lot because she's real fun. So okay, that's all I've got really, like stitching wise. I just wanted to tell you guys about something. As I was getting ready today, I was putting on my makeup and I was like, oh, I should tell them about this because this is something that is new that you could get if you'd like. Target has a makeup line called Pixi, P-I-X-I. It's exclusive to Target, and they released some new stuff for summer. And so this is sold as a set. It's a glittery eye topper and a liquid lipstick. It's $18 for both of them. They're full size. So I have the lipstick on and I have the glitter on. I don't know how well you can see it. It's really pretty. Highly recommend it. If any of you want to like treat yourself this summer, go to Target and get this little set. This is, the liquid lip is actually really nice. I haven't, and by the way, the box, it looks like it's like a hot red lip, but it's not. It's coral. It's orangey. Just heads up if you're like, whoa, I don't want a red. It's not. It's orangey. I love the Stila glitter eyeshadows, and this is exactly like comparable to those. It performs exactly the same, and so it's really nice. It's liquid, so I just like, I put it on my lid, and then I just take an eye brush and just like lightly, I don't know how well it's going to show up, I just like lightly blend it in. But that glitter does not fall. It just, I don't know why, like they've perfected this formula. It just sticks. So like I don't have glitter like all over my cheeks. It stays put. The Stila glitter eyeshadow is exactly the same. So if you don't want to go by like Ulta or Sephora, Target, Pixi Beauty. All right, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.